Hi everyone, welcome back to another video on my channel. This is Chloe and this is A Girl Like Me with Chloe M. So today's video is about finding yourself after transitioning. Transitioning is kind of a forever process. Everyone always has different goals. Goals are always evolving, and transition is kind of a perpetual state of being. Something that I've noticed about myself and some other people in our community is that their whole life they've always wanted to transition, and that's really like their penultimate goal. And once they reach kind of the certain goals they set for their transition, what happens after? I myself have been struggling with that question. I was going to school throughout some of the beginning stages of my transition. I'm a nurse now, and I keep coming back to my, goals that I set for myself at the beginning of my transition, and how much time and effort and just energy that I put into thinking about transitioning and talking about transitioning and talking about being trans and advocating for trans people and being involved in trans things. And now, I'm still doing those things, but I have kind of the sense that I'm lost. And, beyond my transition, what is my passion? What is my goal? What is my, energy source that I draw from every day and get up for that reason? And before this period, it was my transition. It was to become Chloe. And I think it's really important to think about your life and your transness as just a factor, and think about what happens after you reach your transition goals. And, for me, that is or was an all-consuming thing. And I think it's important to say I'm trans and I'm visible and I like to talk about it and I like to advocate for people who are trans, but I think it's also important to say I am trans and something. I'm trans and a business owner. I'm trans and an artist. I'm trans and something else. If we continue to just make life about our transition or our purpose about our transition, we lose our facets as a community. We lose our ability to put together our strengths and develop power as a community. It's important to always, understand that your life in some way or another is formed because of your trans identity. But for me, I experience everything as a trans person, but not because I'm a trans person. And I want that my, experience of working hard to getting where I'm at and to get what I want and to get what I needed from my life to translate into more than just my transition. And I encourage other trans people to use that diligence, that power, that energy, that kind of drive that you have, because inside that something needs to change. Once you get there, or once you've changed what you've wanted to change, or it's time to change the world. It's time to make our community a powerful, strong force in society. Because I believe that as trans people, we need to create a space for ourselves in society, because it's obvious that in the current state of the world, people are not creating that space for us. So it's important to talk about I'm trans and what? What is that after transition? What is that thing that's going to push you to be happy and successful and make others around you feel the same way? It's time for us, I think, as a community to start boosting each other up. It's time for us to start, honoring each other's experiences, but pushing each other to do more, to do better, to do everything that we want, recognizing our beautiful ability to persist. And I think right now, in the state of the world we're in, with all of these young Black trans women or trans people getting killed and violently murdered, it's time for us to stand up and start doing something about it. It's time for us to come together as a community and protest. It's time for us to come together as a community and take a stand on, people are killing trans people just because they're trans. And that's not okay anymore. We need to show them that that's not okay, because every year our numbers are increasing of people being murdered. And a lot of them are Black trans women. And we need to protect them, and we need to give them opportunity. We need to give them an opportunity to succeed, to feel welcomed and protected by our community. Sometimes I hate thinking about this and I hate thinking like this, but a lot of power in society is money. And I've always thought, in order for our community to be strong and powerful and have a huge voice in our country, the US, where I'm from, is to wield a bigger influence monetarily. So that's why I'm now committing myself to building a business to support trans people, to hire trans people, to develop trans people, to create businesses to support themselves and their community and create that power through money. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not saying that this is the only way to build our community and its power. There's always power in who we are. There's always power in our numbers. There's always power in the love that we have for each other. But speaking of the environment that we're in, with all of these rich white men running our worlds, it's time for us to be rich trans people and run their world for once. Let's do it together. Let's band together and figure out how, as trans people, we can come up with businesses and ideas and just beautiful things so that we can make all of the money and that we can start wielding more power in this nation. Sorry if that was a little ranty, and you all know I'm always educating myself. I'm not perfect. My YouTube is a space for conversation, and I think a lot of times in this kind of cancel culture, people are calling it, if someone makes one mistake, people, call them out and say, "You're wrong, you can't do this, I'm not talking to you anymore, I'm unsubscribing." And you know what, it's okay to do that in certain instances, but if someone is genuinely curious and someone is genuinely trying, and if someone is genuinely pushing themselves to do better and learn more and be a better person, I think we have to give them space to do that. I'm trying to do that myself. I know that some people in the comment sections are trying to do that. There's obviously the blatant negativity going on that is just not acceptable. But if I ever mess up in the future, if I ever say something that, is on the edge of being inappropriate or is on the edge of being politically incorrect or insensitive, please tell me, because I want to do better for you guys. I want to do better for our community. I want to do better for, my friends and my family and myself. And so I want to take this time to say my YouTube and comment section and Instagram and wherever I am socially on platforms is a space for learning and developing, and I'm never going to call someone out for being 100% whatever and say, I'm not talking to you or I'm blocking you or whatever, unless you're 100% obviously blatantly being an evil person. I want to continue to develop this channel and this community into something that is not only an educational tool but a community, and I want to do that with all of you. So I know this video is kind of ranty and has 1,000 different kind of topics in it, but we are more than just trans people. Being trans is a huge part of what we are and who we are. It's always important to keep that in mind, that being trans has shaped us. as people. But I also want us to continue to use that power and that diligence to continue to shape ourselves outside of just being trans. So I love you guys. Leave comments below about what you're doing to make yourself succeed through life, ideas you have, businesses you're running. I would love to highlight any trans-owned businesses here on my channel, and I look forward to hearing from you all very soon. Bye guys, I love you.
People feeling like the light has just come. We must never stop the way, yeah. Birds chirping